Good morning. Well, I'm not going to go through all the details of Jesus' life and his ministry. Needless to say, he ministered for about 3.5 years. And during that time, he carried out many miracles, showing who he was. He gave great teaching, showing his understanding of God. He showed compassion to the people and reassured them of God's love for them. Some of the things he did, well, they were a challenge to the people of his own day. Just going to mention 3. In the Old Testament, the rules that Moses had laid down, there were instructions as to how you could test if a person had become a leper. But there was also instructions as to what you could do to find out if a person was healed of leprosy. The trouble is, nobody was ever healed. And so the rabbis discussed amongst themselves, if these instructions are there to show how a person can be healed of leprosy, why are they there if nobody gets healed? And the conclusion they had to come to, of course, was when Messiah comes, he will be able to heal people of leprosy. So what does Jesus do? One of his first miracles, he heals a leper. Sends him to the temple in Jerusalem, says, go and show yourself to the priests. And getting to the temple, they would examine him and think, what's happened? When did you first get the disease? Who diagnosed the disease? What was it like? How do you get healed? How was it taken away? A person was existing who was healing leprosy. This was astounding, absolutely astounding. Now, just as an aside, towards the end of Jesus' ministry, he's approaching Jerusalem for the final confrontation with the religious leaders. And he comes across a group of 10 lepers and sends them to the priests. 10 times they would have had to examine them. 10 times they would have had to question them. 10 times they would have had to test them. And 10 times they would have had to say, these people have been healed of leprosy. See, Jesus was almost shouting at the people, but they didn't really want to hear. Another big test was, it was said when Messiah comes, he will be able to heal a person who is a deaf mute. You see, the trouble with a deaf mute is that the deaf person couldn't hear what you were saying. So how could you communicate with the person and pray for healing if the person could not hear? The Messiah, they said, when he comes, he will be able to heal the deaf mute, and Jesus does it. And the third great messianic miracle was that when Messiah comes, he will be able to heal people not who have gone blind, but who have been born blind. You see, with that climate and the dust and everything else that existed, it's often quite possible to get eye infections. So people would often go blind because of infections they had in their eyes. But no, when Messiah came, he was supposed to heal people who were born blind. And he does it. The leaders in Jerusalem call the person in and they say, we don't understand. How did it happen? And the man tells them. He said, he put an ointment on my eyes. He said, go to the pool of Siloam. I went and I washed and I can see. And they said, well, you know this man is not the Messiah. He said, I don't know if he's the Messiah or not. All I know is that I was blind and now I can see. So they said to him, well, who do you say he is? Well, he said, according to you were teaching, you said the Messiah would be able to heal people who were born blind. I was born blind and now I see. He must be the Messiah. And they're so angry with this that they actually excommunicate him. They say, you trying to teach us our theology? Get out. And they excommunicate him and throw him out. See, Jesus was challenging the people of his own day to accept who he was and what he was. And through his teaching and through the way he worked and what he did, he was showing people, too, the love that God had for them. He was truly the good shepherd who was looking after his sheep. I said I'm not going to go through his ministry, and I'm not. But, John, the great apostle, when he writes his gospel, he jumps from the very beginning to a point where Jesus went into the temple and cleansed the temple. Now, I honestly believe that this took place at the end of his ministry, but John wants to show the importance of Jesus' ministry, so he puts him at the beginning. He says this is what he was all about. It was Jesus coming, challenging the people of his own day to rethink what they knew about God, challenging the people of his own day to wonder again about what they were doing and with the way they were living, and to accept him as the Messiah. So he goes into the temple and he throws over the tables of the money changers and he scatters the animals that are there for sacrifice. He says, "You've made my Father's house into a marketplace, but it should be a place of prayer." Jesus challenging the people of his own day, a challenge which could go one of two ways. They would either accept him as the Messiah, or they would have to kill him. Amen.